Welcome to the Lowcountry Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Ballott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. I would like to welcome Erin Pacitti. Erin is the president and founder of Boundless Marketing Company. The Boundless Marketing Company is a Charleston-based digital marketing agency offering 4 core services: marketing strategy and reporting, digital advertising, email marketing, and social media management. Erin's background is that she has worked for large-scale PR initiatives, marketing programs for major nonprofits, and over 100 other businesses. Welcome, Erin. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So it sounds like you've been doing this for a while, and it sounds like you really know how to do this marketing stuff. So how'd you get into this, your own business here?
Oh man, I think probably like many other entrepreneurs, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't the path I intended to take. I did start my career at Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, which
Oh,
was an
nice.
amazing Yeah, I know a lot of people in the Southeast are quite familiar. It's a truly amazing place to
Right.
visit, and working there was even better. I worked with a really small marketing team where I got to get my hands dirty and learn everything from these
Nice.
2 women who I still look up to and I'm still connected to. And from there, worked at a public relations agency where I cut my teeth in the agency side of things. So client management,
Mm,
juggling 100 tasks at once, and
right.
understanding, the other side of marketing. My husband's job moved him over to Charleston, and it felt like the right opportunity to just see if there was something there for me to start on my own. And
Right.
lucky for me, it took off, and we're still here 5 years later.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're relatively recent to Charleston too. We just moved here in 2021, so I hear that story from
Yeah,
a lot of people. And Atlanta,
sure.
I went to school in Atlanta, grew up in Georgia, so I appreciate that. And the aquarium is an amazing place there.
Yes. Oh man, we had the best time in Atlanta. It's such a cool environment. But yeah, we really love Charleston.
Nice, nice. So what is sort of like the focus of your marketing company? Are you like small business, medium sized, large business? Where are you kind of aiming right now?
Great question. I actually went through the Harvard Entrepreneur Center Accelerator program this spring, which helped me really hone in on my ideal customer persona and the type of folks we work with. And
Right.
since then, I've really been able to double down on that. And so we do work with mostly small businesses and startups. They're often venture backed, or maybe they have started making revenue in the last year or two. They have a little bit of money to spend on marketing, but they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So that's where our core services come into play. We built our core services as a full funnel strategy.
Oh, nice.
So, from everything from awareness, brand awareness, getting your name out there, down to converting with ads, we've designed this to work for a wide variety of small businesses and startups.
That's great. That's great. So it sounds like the strategy is kind of custom for each business, and you kind of work with them. Is that kind of accurate, or
Oh,
is
yeah.
it more like a prix fixe kind of menu kind of thing?
No, it's 100% custom. I'm a strong believer that there's no world in which you can take a strategy for one business and apply it to any other business and have it
Mm,
work the same way. So it's always custom, but the crux of the channels that we're using, those remain the same
right.
across all of our clients. And that allows us to do a couple of things. One, we really specialize in those channels. We know them like the back of our hand. We're very confident that we can get the results we're saying we will. But also, gives us an opportunity to then get into the business, understand their real goals and their challenges, and make sure that we're customizing the actual tactics within each channel to work
Nice.
for them.
So
Yeah.
do you touch sort of all aspects of kind of what I would think is marketing? Because I'm naive about everything in marketing, but I would think it's like you know how your brand looks, colors, logos, uh, little snippets about here's my kind of mantra kind of thing. How do I represent myself on social media? Blah, all of those things. Because I've heard we have some other companies that are doing great stuff in what's called the SEO, the search engine optimization thing. But marketing sounds a little bit bigger than that. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Definitely. I think what you were describing originally is brand identity and your visual identity. And that's the type of work we do in the first 2 to 4 weeks with all of our new clients. Some of them come to us with a fully fleshed out visual identity, but maybe they don't know their key messaging. And on the flip side, some of them are really confident in their key messaging and their customers and their audience personas, but they don't have a visual identity that matches that and that represents them well. So we work to make sure all of those things are really cohesive in those first couple of weeks. And that allows us to apply that strategy to all the channels that we operate, making sure that they're all really consistent, because at the end of the day, if your messaging isn't consistent, people aren't going to be able to recognize you. And that's step one to building an audience in a sales funnel. On the SEO side of things, I think SEO is great and so important. It actually touches all facets of marketing, in my opinion. Social media needs to be SEO optimized. So do your emails, so do your ads. So having a set SEO strategy and a keyword strategy for all of our clients is part of what we do as well. While we don't specialize in SEO optimization, it's there always.
Right. And let's talk a little bit about like the other end of the funnel, which I think probably everybody kind of thinks about. Is like, okay, so how does this help me get customers, and how are you helping me reach more customers than I can right now?
Right. Yes. I would say that is the ultimate goal always. And we kind of say there's about 6 key marketing goals you can have, but lead generation is pretty much always one of them. And that's the marketing team's job, is to bring you those qualified leads. Nice. So when I say we have a full funnel strategy, it is designed to filter the most qualified leads to whoever it is that's going to be converting for you, whether it's the ads doing the conversions for you, whether we're sending those leads to your sales team, or maybe the founder is doing the selling. The idea is that we're building brand awareness, mid-funnel nurturing the people that are most interested in purchasing your product or service, potentially running ads to get them closer to clicking or converting on your website or any other owned channel. And then you can hand off that information to the person that can close that deal.
Nice. And how deep in the process do you get? And I'll be a little bit more specific, because that's kind of nebulous. It's like, so say a small business is going to present at like the Million Cups or something around here, and they've got, they got to do a presentation. And do you guys get in there and help them with like the editing of the presentation and make sure it's like branded the right way, or the words are the right? How do you do that?
Such a good question. I love 1 Million Cups. I'm fairly new to the community, but if you was going to tell a new entrepreneur in the area to check out 1 or 2 networking events, that's absolutely the top of my list. We absolutely can do that type of work. And if someone's working with our team, that's well within our scope. I have not worked with anybody who's presented at 1 Million Cups, but that's not to say we haven't supported other speaking engagements. I think you're really hitting the nail on the head there. It's no matter who you're talking to and what group you're in front of, are your messages clear and consistent? And does the branding look the way you want to be represented? Right. I think a lot of new founders have issues with that key messaging. It can be a little bit muddy, or maybe it takes them like 4 paragraphs to explain what their business does. That's an indication that you need to do a little more work on the key messaging and strategy side of your business.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I struggle with that myself. I work in a technical area, and when I'm talking to my technical folks or the folks that's in that area, it's clear as day. But when I talk to people that aren't in that area, it's challenging. It's like, how do I get the right words so I'm not spending a whole paragraph trying to explain what I'm even working in, So exactly, that's great. Exactly. Really appreciated.
Yeah, that's the big one. And I feel that early stage founders, maybe they're a little bit more uncomfortable with narrowing down their messaging because they feel like everything I'm telling you is so important. Right. But at the end of the day, if people can't hear one sentence about your company and understand what you're doing, they're not going to remember you. Right. So we usually help brands develop short messaging, longer form messaging, and you have a tagline, you have a mission statement. So a wide variety of messaging that all comes down to the same core concept. And you can plug in whichever one makes the most sense for whatever you're doing that day. If you're talking to someone at a networking event, one sentence is where you want to be. If you're submitting a bio to a publication, maybe you can give them the 2-paragraph option.
Right.
You want to have options, but they need to be consistent.
Right. And do you guys do, I don't know what you would call this, kind of, I'd say evaluations of a company that may have some of these pieces already put together, but they haven't had anybody really come in and say audit and say, hey, this is what's good and this is what's bad. Do you guys do that too?
We do. We don't start working with a company unless we take those first 2 to 4 weeks to audit what already exists, make suggestions, or at least make sure we're aligned with what they have in place. And these types of things are often living documents. It's great to have a set mission statement, vision, and values, but your messaging will need to change as the times change, as the environment and the market around you changes. So there's always an opportunity for us to come in and say, maybe let's change this wording, maybe let's adjust this here. And that's always the first step for us.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And, another one, you touch in the social media area, and I think everybody can kind of understand that can be a big time sink, can be very productive, but can be a big time sink too. How do you guys kind of go about helping with that? Do you take over the channels and put out the, whatever the message is, or do you help craft the message, or you just monitor your channel, or is it a little bit of everything,
Yeah, actually, I heard the most interesting stat yesterday on a webinar, and it's that about 91% of businesses run social media accounts, but less than 50% think that they are effective. Right. So our goal is to take people who are running social media and flip the script a little bit and show them that it can be really effective and valuable for their business. And it's not just something you have to do to keep up with people. It can truly create the community you're looking to create, drive leads, and ultimately convert people down the line. So we do full service social media management. So setting that strategy from the very beginning, and we always make sure that the strategy and the content pillars are tied to actual business goals. And that's how you really make sure that your social media converts.
Oh, nice.
Coming up with content pillars, you maybe have heard of content pillars, kind of buckets of content that maybe you want to talk about on social media. This is a pretty common practice in the marketing world, but tying them back to business goals and trackable metrics is a little bit less common. So that's something we make sure we do. And we're really big on metrics and reporting because really that's the only way to show your success. But yeah, we do come in, set that strategy, and we do everything from graphic design, video editing, and shooting to publishing, and then engaging with your community. So responding to DMs, getting back to people, making sure the algorithm knows that your channels are fully engaged. Right. And we'll hopefully show your stuff to as many people as possible.
That's cool. And I'll talk a little bit about, I ask you a little bit about the sort of the physical side of marketing, or at least what I would call it is like trade shows. And do you guys help with some of the stuff around booths or anything around trade shows that people may go to?
Yeah, so interesting. We do. We have a couple different levels that folks can work with us at. This would fall into the more fractional side when we're getting into event planning, even showing up, executing. But we absolutely do that. We actually just wrapped up a fall food show season with one of our clients, Trust 20. We attended a couple shows, and we also help with the booth design, all the sales enablement materials they needed to print out. I probably sound like a broken record, but it all comes back to your messaging. You want to make sure that the words on your booth represent the words on your one-pager, and you want to make sure the sales team standing there is saying the same things that people are reading behind their heads. So events are actually, my background at Georgia Aquarium was heavily rooted in events and fundraising events. And I really believe in the power of getting in front of people and showing them that you're not, your business exists beyond the digital sphere.
Right.
It's just kind of a passion of mine. I love to get out there and talk to people and represent the brand in person and talk to customers and understand what they're really looking for.
Right. And, it's very, so it can be challenging, I think, as a small business trying to navigate that world and figure out, okay, what do I need to actually get? Do I need a tablecloth? Do I need a booth? What's going to be effective for me? What sometimes even what event should I go to? That's another
Yes.
tough one because it's about, what kind of return on investment am I going to get to go for this one versus another one? Because you have to make those decisions, right?
Yeah, I mean, I myself am struggling through that right now as we hone in on our target audience. What events are worth me traveling to, taking my time away from the team and our existing clients? Something I went to recently was Next Venture Summit in Greenville, which was a room full of founders from the Southeast. And it was the best event I've been to in a long time.
That's cool.
I had that light bulb moment where it was like, this is my ideal customer. This is my audience. We're having amazing conversations. We actually landed a new client from that event. So I think there's an element of trial and error when it comes to the event sides, but also if you don't have a tracking system in place, if you don't have any way to track whether your time at that event was successful, then you're kind of wasting your time. So, making sure you know how you're going to track those efforts, whether it's in your CRM or even if it's an Excel document.
Right, right. Yeah, the whole CRM or I'll say people tracking type system, that's a whole nother area that, small companies may or may not even have anything like that besides, if they're lucky, maybe they are doing some tracking with an Excel document or something. So do you guys help people kind of understand how to do that too?
Yeah, we have a significant amount of experience with HubSpot, which is one of the larger CRMs and more expensive ones. But that also means it's pretty easy for us to understand other CRMs out there.
Right.
I myself use Monday.com for my team's project tracking, and they have a CRM that was a reasonable price and linked up with our project management tool. So that's where we live. I see CRM management as a key part of email marketing. If you don't understand the contacts you have, the segments they can be put into, and their buying behaviors, then you're probably not doing everything you can with email marketing. So that is a facet of that channel for us.
Right. Yeah. Because I imagine there's some real technical good ways to do email marketing because a lot of email goes to, I imagine, to spam. So there's got to be good techniques about, okay, how do you do this and actually get some return from doing this versus just spamming more people out there, right?
Yes. No spam. We don't do spam here. We believe in a high value content. So if you can only put out one high value content piece of email a month, then that's what you do. Don't send 4 or 6 if you don't have anything of value to share with your audience. They don't want to be bored or spammed, like you said.
Right. Yeah. And, what I would hope is I think any business would hope this is that they're looking forward to getting the email versus, oh no, I've got another one in my box, right?
Yes, exactly. And bringing them value might not be making a sales pitch every month. It might be, I'm trying to think of some examples. We have a really cool app called Kitchen Copilot that we're working with. They have some cool features where you can actually create a cookbook within the app. So one of our email ideas is to send out a custom cookbook seasonally via email. But I think that's something our audience of home cooks would really enjoy and look forward to. Right. And when the time comes that we have feature updates we want to share, or maybe we need to make a sell about a new level of subscription, we have an engaged audience that's ready and willing to open that email.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I know I do some cooking, and so I have a collection of cookbooks, and a lot of them are from
Me too.
And a lot of them are from churches, and we have a large body of churches in the Charleston area. So maybe who knows, your client there could take advantage of that population here too, because I know a lot of churches love to put out cookbooks every once a year and stuff like that.
Oh, what a great idea. I have my grandma's old church cookbook from the suburbs of Chicago, and it's one of my most treasured cookbooks. Yeah,
I have a cookbook from, my church down in Georgia, and it's got the best recipe for pecan pies, and I will, put that to a test against anybody. And there's some super valuable things. And again, I see marketing as helping connect people. And so I think, that's why I'm excited to see how you're able to help, small businesses like myself and others around this area really connect with folks so that they become aware.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of a, if people have had a bad experience with a marketing person or a marketing agency, they might say marketing doesn't work. But I think probably weren't approaching it in the right way. Maybe you didn't have an aligned strategy, and maybe you weren't tracking results. So it was really impossible to see what benefits you were getting. If you weren't getting conversions, were you building a community? Were you making connections that were going to benefit you down the line with a partnership or something? So I think having that full funnel strategy, taking that high level look at your results is also important, just to understand what you have in front of you with your business and all the data that you're capturing.
Right. That's awesome. So you're going through this journey. It sounds like things are going well, but what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs out there that's going through this similar journey with their business?
Yeah, I will say for my first 3 years or so, I kind of kept myself in town. I worked from home out on Bees Ferry in West Ashley, as far as you can go within Charleston County. Didn't go to networking events. I just kind of kept my head down and worked hard. But I put myself out there a little bit this year by joining the Accelerator program. And I had a goal to go to one networking event a week. Whether or not the group was my ideal audience, it was just to make connections and meet people and really push myself and hone my networking skills. So I would say maybe just be vulnerable, set a aggressive goal for yourself, and just see where that takes you. I've my team has doubled. I had one team member in January, and now I have 3 others plus myself. And I really attribute that to just like putting it out there, saying it out loud. I am trying to grow, and whatever happens, happens.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, I would just encourage people to be vulnerable and take that risk and let themselves try,
Yeah. And just, be open to the opportunities. I totally get that. It's like, I'm totally in that, first 3 years kind of phase of kind of head down right now in my business. So I totally feel exactly what you're saying,
Yeah. It was uncomfortable. My day-to-day looks completely different than it used to, but in the best way possible. I couldn't be happier. I'm super grateful for all the opportunities that came my way just by meeting the right people in the right rooms. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin. This has been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I wish you very well. And come back on again sometime. We can talk some more about what's going on around the Charleston area.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Lowcountry Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Ballott, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of low country innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.